touch anything.
It's the greatest find yet. Nothing compares to it.
But it's definitely something you should hear.
This is The Real Deal with Larry Lawton.
Welcome to The Real Deal with me, Larry Lawton, and I got my buddy, John Bomalaski, a veteran. And first of all, I want to wish everybody people ask me, why do you say Happy Memorial Day? And I asked a veteran, an old-timer. He goes, listen, you should be happy you're alive. Memorial Day is about, to celebrate the people who died in service. It's not like Veterans Day or Armed Forces Day. It's for the people who died. So you should be happy, and they want you to be happy. The guys who died there want you to be the American happy. So that's how, people say, it's not right to be happy on Memorial Day. It's about that. No, it's not, Live life.
And they did what they did, knowing that they were there protecting their family and their friends, their neighbors, and should be very happy that they're there when they were.
This is great. I got my buddy John here. John Bomalaski is my guest today. He's he's my best friend. He also is a doctor, a very renowned doctor, and he was 14 years in the military, correct, John?
Correct.
And what service were you in?
Air Force. I
got quiet there because, that's the one service they can't fuck with the Coast Guard with. Because, people fuck with the Coast Guard, They say, oh, the fucking Coast Guard, That's what they say here with us. But anyway, so with you, let me see, is that on? We're going to do that. You're going. I do that. When people go, what are you doing? I go, this is the real deal. We don't give a fuck. Whatever happens, happens. And we actually like that. People do like that, and it's funny.
Oh, sure.
Because they say, wow, it's like you're sitting in a room with these two guys. Now, if you sit in a room with us two, you're going to either probably get hammered. I don't know what I could say with you. This is going to be good. No, John, you did 14 years. I fuck with you with your service. I'm retired. I did 8. I did less than you. But I fuck with you because I have an ID card.
Yes. Well, you were disabled, and that's why you got the card.
Yeah.
And,
he's going to fuck with me how I got disabled now. This is going to be a great podcast. No, John, we can fuck with you. know that. I don't give a shit. There isn't a thing you could ever say to me to get me, mad. It really isn't. I mean, that's just the way we are.
No.
We fuck with each other a lot. And but we go out together. We RV together. We know each other. My ex-spouse, if you want to call it that. But I don't know what to call it. But we had a good time. We RV together. But, John, let me ask you, today's Memorial Day, and a lot of people ask me to, Larry, you in the service and all that kind of stuff. I loved it, how it would have changed my life if I stayed in, didn't get hurt. I mean, people ask you, do you regret that? Especially with me, They say, wow, you went back to crime, you did everything. I think, I hate to say regrets, because I don't have regrets, that. And things happen for a reason. I wouldn't have met you, and, a lot of fucking things, what happened to us in our lives. You left the service 14 years in. You were, what was your rank?
a lieutenant colonel.
Fucking, I had to salute you?
Yes, yeah. And
Fuck, that would have been fucked up.
I think you should do that right now, as a matter of fact.
John, saluted. No,
I say drop and do me 20, but you could get through about 2 or something like that.
Oh, don't fucking fuck with me on that. I could do more than that, even with a bad arm. Well, you want the truth? I don't know what this arm.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't want to. It would be ugly.
Oh, God, this arm, man. I tried to do a handstand press, and it went all over the internet. It didn't go well for me. But anyway, so you were 14 years in, and you were a doctor in the military?
Yes.
Now, did they treat doctors like? Did you have to go to OCS or something?
We did. We had an officer training school, and it was actually a very good time. You kind of in the medical field, you kind of look at things in your education of either kind of owing money or owing time, and I had a very strong military background in my family, and there was just really no second thought about it. It was really officer training school where you kind of felt like, okay, this is something more than just kind of what you perceived it was going into it. Now, our business was taking care of people so that the real heroes out there could do what they could do and not have to worry about their family or not have to worry about what would happen if they got hurt and that sort of thing. So we were definitely supporting them in that part of the mission. But officer training school, we did. It was a shortened one because they wanted us to be doctors, but they also
Yeah, but you can't say what you just said without me say so. I watched a great movie. Did you hear? You know that movie with the guy who was a medic? He was a conscientious objector, and he ended up getting a Medal of Honor for saving
No, I
up a
don't
hill. What a movie! You have to watch this movie. It's a true story, 100% true story. Guy went in the military. And he wanted to serve the country, but he was a conscientious objector. He wouldn't carry a gun. Would not carry a gun. It went through Congress. They were going to kick him out. The whole works. He through boot camp. He wanted to be in. He stayed in, and he really had a rough time in the beginning. He ended up becoming a war hero. A true story. You got to see it, John. I even interviewed the real guy. He ended up getting the Medal of Honor, saving people down this ridge. Gotta watch this movie, John. And that's why I say, you don't know where the heroes come from in these services. I love the service. I did. And, listen, I can't sit still. You know me very well. And that's what they don't let you do. But you went for, it's hard for me to picture you in the military just because I know you as my buddy, I got fucking stories. John and I were in a bar one time, and I was going to fight a couple of bouncers. And I said, John, you got my back? He goes, no, I'm not fighting, but I'll bail you out, Larry. Something like that. But, obviously, you were there in the military. Let me ask you a question. So when you helped people, did you have a military billet? In other words, if there was a time of war, did you have a station? Like we had a time of Coast Guard service during peacetime, search and rescue and law enforcement and stuff like that. But during war, we actually had a billet that we went and we were protecting 1/4 of an aircraft carrier with ASW. It's called anti-submarine warfare because the Coast Guard had very good sonar. And that's all our job. There's a whole 9 ships around an aircraft carrier, and we take the bullet, so to speak. But did you have a billet?
Well, the main purpose for what I was doing was maintaining education for other doctors to do what they were going to do for the military. So that
field.
Yes, and that was my main. Mission or part. But we were always kind of either in the bucket or ready to go. And we, if there was something that was urgently to go, there was a few things where we would get called up for things like Guantanamo Bay.
But did you? Did you do trauma medicine?
Well, yes. I mean, I personally did because of what my specialty was, and I know you're looking at me confused
I know you for a long time,
because I take care of female cancers now and stuff. But at that time, I not only did that, but I was the ICU staff for
anything
that.
Emergency
and then
a field hospital.
Our trauma unit would work in training other surgeons to be able to take care of different parts of the body if there were a problem. So where I was staff had a trauma center, and we would be part of that entity. My biggest role of it was actually the animal training for the trauma surgeons, and so that they would
animal training.
Well, they would learn on animals on how to take care of.
So you killed dogs and shit like that?
No dogs. No, I wouldn't do that. I would be a conscious object.
Yeah. So you really actually did surgery on animals?
Well, yeah. I mean, from a trauma standpoint and stuff.
Oh wow! Is that how they train? Is that no?
Then they did. Now everything is done, kind of.
Man, with all this technology.
Yes, I mean, I'm assuming things are done.
Well,
I know
you work with a robot now, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty wild. I mean, I always think about that. I said, look at him with a robot. I mean, I don't look at you, but you're actually pretty tech savvy. I mean, somewhat tech savvy.
Even with gray hair.
Yeah, both of us. I look at that because I read a great thing about the military and about the casualties of war from all the wars, from the World War One. They did it from World War One, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Grenada, actually, and also Afghanistan, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And what medics have done, how they save people would have been dead. They talk the attrition rate is like 48% people have died. 50% more just live. You know, maybe with one leg or whatever it is, but it's amazing.
Oh, it's I mean, throughout history, the jumps in medicine and medical care during wartime have, you know, I mean, I guess it's become a necessity, so they had to do it. But if we talk about the robot was developed by the Department of Defense originally, the one that I use now.
The one you use now?
Yes, and it was originally set up with the plan of being able to do battlefield surgery remotely. And but ultimately, at that time, you know, 20, 25 years ago, or 20, whenever it was being developed, the real-time connection wasn't there and stuff. So ultimately, a private company took it over, and then that's what's, you know, now a lot of the
seems like private companies take over a lot of shit, whether it's SpaceX and stuff, and do better.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just what it is, in innovativeness and profits and everything else that go along with it. But the military is such a well-run organization. I try to tell people how they set up leadership in the military is like a corporal can only manage 4 non-nons, and then a sergeant manages 4 corporals. Staff sergeant manages 4 sergeants who manage, you know, it's like the pyramid system, and it's really a pretty good thing, you know, when you look at it.
And you know the line of command. You know where to go to when you're having a problem or issue. You know not to skip anybody in between.
Oh yeah, jumping chains is pretty bad.
And sometimes during peacetime, and you're in the military, you think, gosh, the inefficiencies and why are they doing it this way, and all these kind of things. And then, you know, shit hits the fan, and it's amazing how it all comes together so quickly, so abruptly, and being able to take care of things. And the whole it's like any group of people when they're together, and kind of in idle times you can kind of butt heads a little bit here, but when there's a common issue that joins them, they all come together, and it's amazing how well it works.
You know, you said that so great. I remember you both and I were older guys. A lot of my audience is younger, but in 1992, when we watched Iraq happen, and Stormin' Norman, do you remember him?
Yeah.
Norm Schwarzkopf, the general. We wiped out Iraq in 100 hours. Their Revolutionary Guard, and how the fucking, I mean,
the fourth strongest military in the world, or whatever it was.
100 hours, we fucking wiped them out. It was amazing when you saw the coordination and the tech. And you think of logistics, the back end, how do you do things? I was actually on the road, and I was thinking, you know, I'm looking at all the trucks, because I like to travel at night. And fucking this country could not move without the trucks. Just the logistics of the United States, or logistics of businesses. Any business, forget mine. I'm talking like a store or something, a hospital where you work. The logistics to get that shit together, that's got to be pretty intense. I mean,
oh, yeah.
You fuck up, people die. I mean, in your business, I mean, honestly, you know, and I don't like to fucking say that and fuck with you about it, because I don't want to blow your fucking head up. But anyway, you know, this is Memorial Day, everybody. I just wanted to give them a little shout out to Memorial Day and what it's really about. It came about in 1868, actually, after the Civil War, and all the way till 1970. It was actually it was observed, and it was called Decoration Day. It wasn't called Memorial Day. In 1970, they changed that to Memorial Day. And, you know, a lot of people put flags at graves and stuff like that. And they should. I mean, I love to go see these towns where you see old graves. And then you see the flag, you know, some flag in the middle of the... You know what's really cool? Have you ever been to Arlington?
I have not.
Oh, fucking John.
I know.
You got to go to Arlington. Arlington is an amazing place. It really is. Just to see it. Then you start looking at some of the graves, and they have some of the medals on them. You know, especially Medal of Honor and stuff like that. Not many people have made that medal, you know. And I met a guy. I was at the Coast Guard. I was at Patrick. I got my updated pass and stuff for the, you know, Patrick Air Force. I'm a member of the yacht club. Man, it's expensive. $10 a month. $10 a month. I love that place. You know. So anyway, yeah, we got to go there. Have you been there?
Good. I have been there. Yes.
We got to go there. With that.
Yes.
A lot of coasties there.
Yeah.
You know, that's what
we all look at the area where we live.
True, in the water. But there's a lot of coast, and we're all talking stuff. And I got hammered one day recently, and it's just, you know, all that fucking that you look back at that and Memorial Day and the flags, and you think of all that. And I was sitting next to a dude, Coast Guard commander. He actually was a pilot for fixed wing C-130s and helicopters. Very rare you see that. He had the Distinguished Flying Cross. which is the second highest honor the military gives. Think of that. This fucking guy's a war hero.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck he did to get it. I got medals. Yeah, bullshit. Nah, they're not bullshit, but you know what I mean. I think about that because he even looked at because I was showing my. He go, oh, you got that? That's the certain medal for meritorious service, and the Cubans, the Freedom Flotilla, and all a bunch of that shit. But this guy's got the distinguished flying, and I had to like kind of get it out of him. He's 90 years old, the same age as my mom. And it made, I said, Mom, get your walker over here, and I'll take you to the bar.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, But like your mom, wow.
Oh my gosh, she's gonna outlive us all.
Oh, she walked across Spain not long ago, right?
Did the El Camino last year. She's 88 years old then. And
unreal, your mom.
And did the El Camino in
you can't
Spain.
do that.
Well, maybe not.
Bullshit. Don't bullshit me. You can't do that crap. Well, anyway, let me keep going here. Official recognition of the holiday spread among the states, beginning with New York in 1873. By 1890, every Union state had adopted it. The World Wars turned into a day of remembrance for all members of the U.S. military who fought and died in service. In 1971, Congress standardized the holiday as Memorial Day. That's what we know it as. 2 other days celebrate serve for the serving of the military. It's Armed Forces Day. John, I didn't know that. I had to look it up. You know what Armed Forces Day is?
No, huh?
I wrote it on mine, so you didn't have the fucker. It's actually May 20th. It's the 3rd Saturday of May, and they pay tribute to all men and women who served in the military. So that's us, any of us who served. And, of course, Veterans Day on November 11th is the 2 military services. And, I was at, it's funny, John, I was over at the Patrick, and I was there during colors, and everybody stands up still, know.
Oh, I get emotional.
I do, too. Fucking, people think, because I'm very much for the liberties of Kaepernick to do what he wants and all that kind of crap. But with me, no, I fucking, I don't know.
Well, that brings up a point, so I hear the national anthem and I see the flag. I get emotional with it, and you know that there's some people that look at the flag and they've kind of use it as a symbol of what's wrong with our country. And I'm not saying there's not a lot wrong with we have social. I mean, there's a lot
of stuff, of course,
and stuff.
But nothing's perfect, man.
And then you have look at the flag. Sometime another group is using it for their political gain, as it being, it's our way or the highway type mentality and that sort of thing. But it's American. What more inclusive thing do you have than a flag that's got 13 stripes and 50 stars? There's a star in there for Mississippi and there's a star in there for California. I mean, why can't the whole country look at it not as being what's wrong or
it's a
whatever.
symbol of our patriot. I look at it as this. Listen, I know there's a lot wrong with the country. I talk about the prison system. I talk about the justice system. I talk about policing. I talk about a lot of things. But collectively, I love the country. I love the way we live. I'm happy that I can voice my opinion to a point.
Yeah, that alone.
I've been around the country, around the world, especially in the military, because I went to Philippines and Micronesia, all that, in the Pacific when I was in the Coast Guard. Yeah, we did go there. The little boats go there.
Right.
But I do love the country, and it's something about when I was in the military. Now, do I think there was a lot of bullshit in there? Yes. You get older, you realize what the fuck, how they manipulate, and I guess they have to, obviously, because again, that cohesive machine we just talked about,
right,
can't have somebody saying, "Wait a minute, this ain't right," and then you got time to sit and fucking talk to the guy and say, "Now it is right." You can't do that.
Right.
But you and I in the military. What year did you go in?
Went in would have been 80. Let's see, 80.
Wow,
shit.
You don't even know.
No, 83.
You went in 83. Right? I went in August. I can remember the date. August 27th, 1979 is when I went in. And I retired in December 31st, 1986. So
86 was when I went in.
86? You went in 86 when I retired?
I guess so.
You fucking, you're the same age.
Yeah.
You close anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Well, that's because I was in school to be...
Yeah, you're a doctor. And I was 17 when I went in, actually. You know, he's little different upbringing. John, where you from?
Jasper, Indiana.
Where'd you from, John?
Southern Indiana. The middle
Where's
of
that, John? Indiana? That's a state?
It is a state.
We mess with John. He comes from this little town, and I come from New York City, and we're close friends. People go, how the fuck does this fucking, like, cut dice here?
Yeah, you make fun of me of never being able to make it in New York. There's a deli on every corner of New York. I'd like to see you in Jasper, Indiana.
Trying to hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, hunt the deer and then kill it and what, field dress it and
That's
field
right.
dress it. I tried to field dress a rat. One time we killed a raccoon who stole my hamburger, and I tried to make a hat like Daniel Boone.
Yeah.
You know? You remember? And I couldn't do it, man. And we ended up feeding it to the alligators. We would have been to jail if they known about that crap. But, you know, I look at the American and Memorial Day, and that's why we came here. And I says, fuck, John said serve 14 years. You never talk about your service time. Really, very rarely. I mean, I sometimes talk about my career. You remember we have a running joke in our group. When you say Coast Guard, you have to drink. Because, I'll say Coast Guard something, and our buddy Ray, and we're all close friends. Ray, me, and John, and we'll go out all the time. And if I say Coast Guard or something, they say I have to drink.
Yes.
Fuckers. They fuck with me so bad. And
Well,
I let it happen. People are going to say, Larry, why do you let that happen? I don't know. It's something I can't. What are we going to do? Beat them up?
So we'll be on some sort of little rental boat or something like that before you're on it, and we'll say, how many times is he going to say Coast Guard in the first 15 minutes? And it's like,
now I know, and I'm not, but I can't help it.
no, you
I
can't.
can't help it. I try. I can't help it. I'll wear the
Now
Coast
you say it just to get us to drink.
Oh, yeah, now I do, exactly. And we all have to drink. That's nothing wrong with that either. But so we both went into service. After we went into service, how did the service shape you for what you are today? Like, honestly, John, you're I know, keep your head in the fucking damn head things. You look at you. You're a successful doctor. You're really a good guy. You do a lot for the community. You do a lot for people. I know you, John. I know your family, of course.
Well, I think one of the things the military does is it makes you realize that you're part of something that's kind of bigger than yourself, and we live in our own little worlds and the most important thing of our world is us or ourself or whatever, and you realize that when you have a family, you're now something of a part of something else. And when you're doing a profession, like you're helping how many people have you helped with that have had problems and issues?
No, yeah, it's true.
And and that's
And the community
you're in the community, you're something bigger. And I think when you're in the military, you get that even more so. I mean, you're looking at all the people in the past that have been in the military and what they have done, and now you're part of it. And even if you're part of it, of helping somebody or helping the heroes out there that are doing what the military is supposed to be doing, they wouldn't be able to do that if you weren't part of that. And so, and that I think is a big thing. And the other part of the military that really affected me was just, I mean, it's the camaraderie. I mean, obviously, military and camaraderie kind of go hand in hand. You're part of that bigger thing, but it's automatically going into a situation, and those people are exactly coming from a situation wherever they were into that, and it molds together and it works. And the one thing that I really miss from the military are some of the people and dealing with people, and just that automatic being part of that group.
I like that. What you said, I think, is pretty good because I look back in the military. It obviously gives you the discipline. Everybody knows that, or what it is. But it's that camaraderie. It's to this day, I have friends in the service that I talk to. To this day, yes. I mean, and I retired in '86, and we call each other. We could like hit a reunion or something, and it's there was no racism either. I mean, I didn't see any of that. Everybody, listen, you took a test, you passed it, you moved up. I don't know how officers work, something like that. But I don't know how they really.
Right. I mean, time and
fitness reports and stuff like that. But like
war college and things like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And you could listen. Colin Powell became the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and he's a black guy from the Bronx. You know what I mean? So anybody who says you can't do it, it's bullshit in anything. So I didn't see the racism. I just saw, I'm sure it's there. Everything,
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
But my point is, it's like still you can get through things. You can do things. You can. I often, I look at you, John. You're a successful doctor. I know you struggled when you're in the military. I was telling one of the guys, is John and Laura, they're so down to earth because they weren't always wealthy or well off, like whatever you want to call it, wealthy, I guess. But you were like, you struggled. I remember you tell us. I mean, because we hang the stories. You guys had to, go camping with the kids because you had no money, and
Oh yes.
it's pretty. I think that's actually very good for something. I don't mean good just to do it. It gives you that sense that but you're still striving for something. Me, I did it the easy way. I went and stole it. But I mean, I'm not saying right, but
And then you went to prison, which wasn't so easy.
Nah, I did my time. I did a lot of time. I got my retirement all right. But how did that help you and your wife? I know Laura very well. What a sweetheart. And you're the rare couple that we know. You know that. And but she went along with you this whole way. And you guys, we fuck with you a lot. You know that. But you guys are great, man.
When you're in the military, it's not the person in the military. The whole family's in the military. Now, the whole family doesn't necessarily have the rank and the whatever, but it still affects the whole family. Moving, friends, the kids.
Were your kids? How old were your kids when you were in the military?
They were all either born in the military or when I was in training. So I did my training in a civilian program, but I was in the military, but I was not on a
Were you
base.
making money?
Well, I was making yes.
So you got military pay?
I got military pay.
As an officer?
Some of the pay, there are different pays that they give and different bonuses that they give in different ways. So, but you got your officer pay.
Oh, you did get officer pay.
So I got paid as a captain, and after I got my MD and.
That's not enough to raise a family, is it really?
No.
Yeah.
No. But the military does give you that reassurance that no matter what happens, that you're going to have a roof, food.
Yeah. No. I used to spend all my money on drinking, knowing that I had my quarters and my food and everything else. That's true. I mean,
and we spent our money on our kids. I mean, that's what we had.
Right. And did you have all four of your kids when you were in the military?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. So when did you get out?
Got out in 2004.
2004, man. Like when I got out of prison, it was 2007.
Yeah.
So we both got together. I went in 1996. You went in 86, right?
Yeah, 86 or 87, somewhere right around there.
Right. So then you did 14 years.
So, and the reason the years are different is some of the years in training counted towards retirement, and some of them did not.
I always ask you. Remember, I used to ask you, why didn't you just stick out 4 more years or 6 more years? I mean, obviously, money is an issue, obviously, especially at your level of doctorness.
At that time, it really wasn't money. It was really I spent all that effort and time in being a physician and a doctor, and that's what I wanted to be. I mean, that's kind of where I was, and at that
and
time,
tell the people what you are exactly, because I'll screw it up.
A gynecologic oncologist. I take care of female cancers.
Okay. Anything below? Does that mean anything below? The uterus, the cervix,
ovaries, all that. Yes.
Okay. Because someone asked me, I said. Then I end up just saying the word.
And some abdominal, mostly surgery, but
below the waist. Is the way to say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With women.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, but in at that time, it was pretty much in the military was pretty much you went up the line. You went up certain ways. You had different responsibilities, and there was a point where the military wanted officers for the mission and not necessarily doctors for the care because we were training those people to become to do that. And you go up the line.
Oh, so you would have probably been administrator at some point.
I got to the point where exactly they wanted me to be a flight commander, and then it would have taken me away from taking care of patients and I felt that there were people out there that could be a much better flight commander than me, and I felt that my best thing to do would be take care of patients.
Well, it's proved right, I guess. I mean, because you're known as one of the best surgeons around, really are, and that's not blowing you. I hate to do that with you, especially on this show. No, we know it, and I I hate to say this without sounding like condescending. We're proud of you. I mean, I am. You know, as not only as a friend.
Well, I appreciate that. That means
Yeah,
something. That means something
you know,
to me.
because it's hard. You know, we joke with each other and everything. Because what you've done is, you know, I mean, I know I'm with you when I hear people come up to you. Oh my God, Dr. Bomalaski, you saved my life. I mean, that you know, we mess around.
And,
We mess around.
I'm with you, and people say, "Are you Larry Lawton?"
John, don't mess. See, he couldn't keep it good. He just couldn't do it, the fucker. But and I have. You remember cruises and everything we've done, and I think that I mean, and other doctors we know here talk about what you know kind of deal and how you bailed them out
nice.
and stuff. But meaning just because your knowledge and you got that in the military though, didn't you?
Oh yes, definitely.
It's amazing that the military or the Air Force even is so special. No, what? No. I'm not going to mess with the Air Force. It's so specific that they have to have your specialty in the service. You'd think they would just send. How many people in the Air Force actually have that? First of all, most services more men than women. That's just what it is. How many actually have that kind of issue?
Well, so as a military doctor taking care of patients, you're not only taking care of active duty, you're taking care of their families, and you're taking care of retirees also. And then also there are means of us being able to take care of some civilian situations in certain ways to maintain our ability to do what we do so that we can keep proficient at doing things. So the main reason they had G1 oncology in the military is that they had residencies. That's a level of training, and for OBGYNs to be trained to be able to do what they do, then they have to have G1 oncology as part of their training system. So you can't have an OBGYN go through a program that doesn't have a G1 oncologist.
Yeah,
So-
it just
so there
seems
was-
very cost
there-
effective. They put you
there
through
was-
school.
There was, I think, probably 6 or 8 in the G1 oncologists in the Air Force, and probably the whole military, maybe.
Each
I don't
service
know.
has 10.
Yes,
12,
I mean, because
15.
we all every the service
Coast
has,
Guard, you think? I don't know. I can't even
I don't
imagine.
know, but there's
They're public health. I thought the Coast Guard. No, they had corpsmen, but I don't think they had officer doctors. And I think they were Navy or public health.
And so why is it important to have OBGYNs in the military? Well, for one thing, there is a large portion of the military that are female, and so
Or their
those
spouses,
issues there,
of course.
but also and then go into the spouses and the family. When a soldier is going to be going halfway across the world, he needs to be concentrating on the mission and what he's doing. He needs not to be thinking about who's going to take care of his family.
Where's she going to go? She's going to get accepted.
If he gets hurt, or if his kids get hurt, or if their spouse gets hurt, where are they going to go for their care? So they know that if they have that medical backing, and there's always been a big. When I was in the military, there's big. Well, why do we need to have medical field? Why don't we just use civilian medicines?
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say.
And where to go and what to do with it. And it really, truly is. It's so that frontline soldier doesn't have to worry about what he's getting into, and he doesn't have to think about that decision of who's going to take care of himself if he's hurt, or herself if she's hurt, or their family members or somebody back. Just like they also know that the military is going to support their family for the rest of their lives if that person gets hurt. And a good example of that is my wife's family, and my father-in-law was hurt in the Air Force. And
Is that where he got hurt?
Yeah, he not Air Force. I'm sorry, Army. But
he
he got
got
hurt in military, and
I didn't know
that
that.
allowed the support. That allowed him to get his PhD, and I mean all those
Yeah.
things. He's a quad.
I know. It's
He's
amazing.
been a quad for 70 years now.
Wow, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
He's 86, I think, or something like that.
Amazing
And,
what he's done.
so that's
Accomplished
right.
too.
I guess 60 something, but he was like 22 when he got hurt, and he's been a quad ever since.
Did he get hurt in the service? Like
In the service, yeah,
doing
in the
something?
Army.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
And that's part of Memorial Day too. The fallen people, but also those people that really essentially gave up their lives, whether they're alive or not, but gave up their normalcy of their life at least. And
like me.
yeah. Well, you've never been normal, I don't think.
You know what? I have a buck with the military, and I'll even say it on Memorial Day. Um, it's hard for me as a guy who deals with a lot of young people, and I say young people. We know, and you and I know this, that under 25, the brain doesn't even fully develop, until about 25 for men, 23 for women. That's the national studies, but it could be a little younger. Who gives a shit? Give or take. We send kids at 18, 19, 20 to Iraq. They shoot somebody, they kill them. And I don't see the mental health problems. I see them because a lot of them, and I don't see the urgency of taking a kid coming back here. Because there's no way, John, as a guy who knows about a lot of bad things, there's no way that kid could be a normal kid, at that age, trying to deal with shit. I mean, it blows me away.
I totally agree. I think I think that's a failure
Sore spot, yeah, I call it.
of our country, military or not, is mental health.
With prisons, we talk about that a lot.
And I mean our prison system or just have
they use them
so
as a
much
mental hospital. They really do.
And then I don't know if any country has it right. I don't know what to do to make it better, but I don't think there's enough effort in trying to make it better.
The more you kept me thinking about that. This is so true because it's probably the leading issue every country probably has right now, mental health, because more people you're seeing more suicides. I had a friend that Lewis and I know, I'll tell you about, they committed suicide not long ago, a week and a half ago. Hung himself. I was in prison with him. That's how I knew him. I'll tell you about it later. And I heard from his wife, and wow, talk about blow me away. It goes to show you. I mean, there's nothing. Listen, if I die, it's never suicide. Might be a cop's hanging me or some shit. No, I just it's not in me.
And
if I didn't do it back then in prison, I ain't doing it now.
And with some sort of help or intervention,
yeah. Oh man, no question.
An hour after that happened, that person could have been convinced of hopefully something else.
Totally. I remember. My story totally about it. I was ready to, I was in the hole going crazy, and I don't know. It's just something in me that just stopped that shit. I just don't know. My stupidity may shift. No, I look back and I look at young people, and that's why I always tell them, listen, there's nothing that's bad. I mean, listen. Breathe. Take a deep breath. You're all right.
Yeah.
We'll get you food. I'll get you a freaking house. A roof over your head. And
talk to somebody.
Yeah, man.
Pick up a phone. Talk to somebody.
And that one just hit me. And I don't think the military does enough for that. And that's just a sore spot. And I think they kind of want them service. Listen, let's face it. They have to kind of brainwash. If you watch any Marine stuff and read, how they do it and how they do SEALs, they literally break you down. Have you ever watched, John? I got to send you it. Have you ever watched the speech by Admiral McLean? It's one of the best motivational speeches you ever hear. I'll send it to you. It will blow you away. He gives a commencement speech and it's known as the best one on the internet. And that's all you got to Google, best speech. And he lays out why making your bed is one of the, just the way he does this whole speech. I listen to it every 6 months, just to remind myself and kind of stay motivated on certain things that you want to do.
Like making your bed.
No, I make my bed anyway. I do, actually, but you don't. But I do. You have a wife that does your stuff. My mother's not making my bed. My mother makes her bed every morning. It's crazy. I mean, with a walker and everything, she makes her bed.
Yeah.
She's so routine shit. She couldn't make a bed. She couldn't stop making a bed. She'd go crazy if she didn't make a bed. But she's become a star on the show now. I have her.
She's wonderful. I mean,
have
I
you
love
seen
your
a few
mom.
of them?
I have seen a couple of them. Yes.
Are they funny as hell?
Oh, yes.
I tell her to smoke weed. No. She's yelling at me. I love her. I mess with her though, man. I love my mom. She's so crazy.
I mean, think of what she's put through.
Oh,
you and Dave have put her through.
Oh my gosh, my mother's lost 2 kids, lost 2 grandkids, 2 kids in prison. You think of what that lady been through. I think of that. Whenever I get mad, I catch myself. I say, all right. Yeah. But Mom, I am 61. Stop asking me when I'm going. You know, I mean, hello, you know, but that's not going to stop. You
That's
know
not gonna
that.
stop.
We
No
know
way.
it. But how has the military affected your kids? Did you see any effect? Like, did they go to school on base? How old were they? How old were your kids when you left the military?
Well, let's see.
Well, 2004, you said, right?
So yeah, when my oldest, when we left, he would have been a
5 years old. He was born.
fresh.
No,
He would have been. He
89.
would have been a freshman in high school.
He was born in 89, Ryan.
Yes,
Yeah,
89.
because he was same as mine, and your
Yeah,
youngest is born in
so-
95.
Yeah, so I think is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that
she was
close? Like I think it was going to be a freshman in high school, right around that age. And our youngest was
7. Well, 4, 9.
yeah. So
She was born 95, same as
yeah,
my daughter.
Yeah. So
That's how we know it.
Yeah.
That's how I remember it. The two in the middle you got.
yeah,
I
the
know.
two that you know of.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, so yeah, they you know what, how it affected them is how close they are with each other now. There are no closer siblings that I'm aware of. They're
That's
they're
great.
each other's best friends, and
They are.
and
It's
and,
true.
and,
I
and
know
whether
that.
they're across the country, they still talk with each other.
They visit each
call them,
other.
They visit. They go out. They're definitely and. when
Well,
you're-
David and I are like that.
when
too, you
when
know.
when you're in the military and you move, you know, they lost their friends from before, and I think now they're able to kind of keep those connections going. But then it wasn't quite as easy as it is
Sure,
now.
even technology or nothing,
Yeah,
right?
and
Right.
and so you know, for the first couple months, they were each other's best friends, and that kind of grew and stuck, and they always had each other's backs. They're always protecting each other, always looking out for each other. You know,
I noticed that with your
and
kids, though. They're very independent thinkers. Every one of
oh
your kids,
yes,
which
yeah, and I'm
I
so
give that.
happy about that.
Oh, I know. I give that to you and Laura.
They want to save the world. I'm not sure the world always wants to be saved, but
Yeah.
they're wanting to save the world.
I was just
and
going
that's
to say
great.
they keep. I won't say they're progressive. So I mean, in that's as good word. I am progressive. Where did that come from? Because usually military people aren't, to be honest, or mostly, you know, a lot of conservative, very tight. I remember I was bullshitted with the drug war with Ronald Reagan. I got a thing on my wall right there that I marched for Ronald Reagan. Well, he fucked up the drug war and he really did.
Yeah.
But I marched for him, and I was a gung ho, you know, that kind of stuff. They never became that.
No, I think they got that mostly from their mom. I
Yeah.
mean, definitely, and I hope some from me too about being independent thinkers and not
Yeah, I think so,
necessarily
both, yeah.
go with what you're told, but take a look at it, you know, legitimately and they're very progressive, but they don't necessarily follow
The norm.
They don't follow a blindly. They I think they kind of have a good handle on it, and sometimes you know I'm approaching 60, and when I have a question about what's right or wrong, I don't want to offend anybody, whatever, and I ask them.
Oh, I do the same thing. 'Cause
And they're able to explain it very well. I'm actually very happy that they just don't say something like, "Well, it's just the way it is," or what. You know, I mean, they tell me why.
You know, it's funny. There's I'm gonna have a guest on who's a transgender person, right? And I mean, it was funny because I didn't do it on purpose or anything. I said, "So I said, "You're a good-looking tranny," and boy, I got like Nick, works for
yeah.
me, and the transgender person, Alice, I'll say, says, "Larry, you don't do that." And I'm like, "What do I do?" I'm like, tranny's not the right word. I'm just
Right,
letting you know. I didn't know that. I mean, you know me, I'm a little bit rough
Right,
around the edges
right,
and stuff.
right.
But I am totally accepting of that.
Yeah.
But everybody knows on this channel, you know me personally. I mean, what the fuck? I don't give a shit.
Yeah, if you're not hurting somebody else, do what you want. I mean,
Oh, I'm so for that. You know that.
Yeah.
If it's two consenting adults, have fun, do what the hell you want. As long as there's no kids or anything like that, and people are elderly, that kind of shit. I don't like. But other than that, but I just don't know. I just don't know.
yeah.
And there's a lot of things on this channel. I'll hit people, but Larry, they know me, but they know I don't know. You know what I mean? And when I had Chris, Chris, my buddy Chris Hollyfield.
Yes.
Well, I asked him about the word midget, and he goes, "I don't give a shit what you call me." He goes, "I know you, Larry. There's no hating you at all. I hang out with him, we'll drink with him. He's a good guy." And I just didn't know that you're not supposed to say the word midget anymore. And he goes, Larry, they throw us down a bowling alley, you know. I mean, he goes, hey, however they want to make their money. You know, he didn't even, he's not like, you know what I mean? It's like, are we too politically correct? Are we too with that? I sometimes think we are, because I think you got to know the person's heart or where they're coming from.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I have arguments with your wife a lot. You know this about Andrew Tate. You know, now I've listened to Andrew Tate a lot now because I have to comment on him. Yeah, he's an asshole. I don't think I'm not going to hang out with him. Maybe, you know, but I haven't heard him say or do anything that is so egregious that it's against the law. You know, if somebody called me a fat, ugly guy, okay, but I'm not going to hang out with him. You know what I mean? I'm not going to, oh, he don't have the right to say that. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know because we argue. I love arguing with your wife. You know that. And then when I know I got her, oh, the knife goes in deep.
So we better
She's
change the
so
subject.
good.
I'm going to get into trouble if we start talking about my wife.
And you don't say something.
No.
She's great.
No, my gosh. She's
God. We all get along so well, man.
Yeah.
You know,
She's
it's funny.
put up with my crap for 35 years. Last weekend.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure she 35 years.
35 years.
35 years. You know how odd that is?
Oh.
I mean, really, in today's world, it
was easy for me. It was hard for her.
Oh, I like to tease both of you anyway. But we all get on. We have one friend, 6 marriages haven't made 35 years, I don't think. Maybe. Right.
Yeah.
I feel good at 2. Well, it's almost like I got to count 3.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I just I'm a happy man now. I'm a workaholic, which you know that.
Definitely.
But and look, we are here on Memorial Day. You and thanks for coming in.
Oh, no problem.
To talk about the veterans. I mean, I don't know. Memorial Day, Veterans Day. I'm not like, again, I know what I did. I mean, I had my shit and I loved it, and you fuck with me a lot. You know about that. I only did the 8 years. But I did get hurt, and I did not fall on a mop. Let's get that legally on the air. It's in the records.
You slipped on a fish.
You know, that could almost technically be right.
Yeah.
Because, you know, up on a deck, and then the slime, and off the top deck into the fish hole. But that could be technically right. But it's fun to see, you know, and I never talked about your service. That's what I was thinking about. I called another guy. He goes, yeah, come on. I said, nah, I got my buddy John coming on. And
the Air Force is great. I mean, it was a time that I cherish. I mean, it got me to where I am now, and I can't tell you how proud I am of the things that
you should be.
I'm proud of my kids, proud of my family. I'm proud of.
I'll tell you what we're gonna do next Wednesday. Not this one because I got to go to a funeral. My ex-wife's father funeral, who passed. The Wednesday after that, you can get off like a half a day or something.
I think so.
Or one of those. Or next one you got maybe Friday.
Okay.
Let's go to the Air Force Base. Let's go to the you and me.
Sounds good.
Just you and me.
Sounds
Maybe we'll
great.
grab Ray if we can get off.
Sounds good.
We're gonna go down to.
He might be on a list. He might not be able to get on base.
Oh, Ray.
Yeah.
And maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna fuck with Ray. No, let's go. Just the 3 of us.
Sounds good.
You, me. We'll have a few.
Sounds awesome.
Down at the bar at the Patrick, and
Yeah.
I can't believe how many Coast Guard guys are there, and it's got their own fraternity. You know, who's a Master Chief, he was an officer, who's this crap, and you know, I remember telling a commander to go fuck himself. Didn't work out well for me.
Yeah, that usually is not a good.
Yeah,
way
it was
of doing
called.
it.
You know, I look back on how much money that cost me over the years because I went from an E6 to an E5 when I retired. That hurt. Think about that 35 years of it.
So we had ways of doing that without actually doing that. You didn't know about those ways, like you would say if you really wanted to tell somebody.
Tell me, I love this.
Oh, I would say have a wonderful Air Force Day, or something like that, and everybody knew what that meant.
It meant go fuck yourself.
Not quite like that, but close enough.
Did you ever have any run-ins with senior staff, like an admiral or commander?
Yes, and it's
really.
Oh, definitely. I wouldn't say to that point that you just had, nowhere close to that,
No, don't do that to an admiral.
No, it's not good. But you have different people around, and whenever you have people around, you're not going to agree to everything that's going on. And
Do you look back and say you were right or wrong?
I think that there were different types of commanders, and there were some commanders who commanded because they felt that the best thing for the mission was to do that. Whether you're right or wrong, the best thing for the mission is to do it. And then I would respect that, and then I look at that as saying, okay, I was wrong, they were right because they were doing it for the mission. And there were other times when there were certain commanders that were doing things kind of for their own um,
Glory.
bullets or glory or whatever, and those were a little bit more difficult sometimes to stomach.
You know, it's funny because I know a commander actually in the Coast Guard, and we were friends, and you know, we talk about certain things like that, like you know, why he never made admiral because you captain, you go from 05 to 06.
Right.
And you know, and a full bird is right below. You know, obviously, you were a 04.
No,
You were 05.
05,
No,
05. So
no, you were. Oh yeah, right before
right-
colonel.
right
Right,
before
yeah.
bird.
Colonel was
Yeah.
06. Yeah. So you were the same rank as him.
Yeah.
And he talked to me about why he didn't. You know, he goes, I ran into the wrong one. You know, and obviously fit reports and everything else go, and
Yeah.
it can actually stall your career. You know, and it's kind of rough. You know, I mean, to hear that. You know, and one guy can do that. And, you know, other than it's playing politics, and I can't stand politics.
But
with
but
this shit.
for the most part, most commanders were thought of the mission and worked hard. And if I look back, there's very few that I thought otherwise.
You ever
And-
hear from
and-
anybody from the service today?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah, yeah. But the thing with the military, your commanding officer, like anything, you have good bosses and bosses that are not so good. You have good bosses that are good bosses, but they're not necessarily nice people, and you have good bosses that are really nice people, and they do it differently. And sometimes you have wonderful people, but they're not very good bosses.
Right.
I mean, and the military.
Where's
and
the best
officers know
place you
difference.
served?
Probably at Wilford Hall in San Antonio.
San Antonio,
Um,
Texas?
San Antonio, Texas.
You never talked about that. That's
Yeah.
why. You talked about
Yeah.
Biloxi.
Biloxi was my longest stay, but San Antonio I think was probably my most memorable.
How many stations were you at in your time?
Well,
I mean, the whole time, like-
the whole time. I mean, I probably just four or five. I didn't move a whole lot, but only two military positions. The others were training.
Just
or
you, or did the family go?
administrative. Those would be the family.
The whole family goes on a training? Like when you went for training?
Well, not for something like an officer training school or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's 3
'cause
months, 6 months, whatever. I don't even know what it is.
And
8 weeks?
medical is 8 weeks. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Okay.
And then, but for the training, like when I was in residency or fellowship or whatever, you know, I was still.
If
in
you're
the
going to be there for a
military.
year, 2 years, or something, it's
Yeah.
gonna be.
Oh yeah. Then the family would move with me.
Right, and you've been to 4 places.
Yes.
So you've been to Biloxi, San Antonio.
And MacDill and Tampa.
Oh, you were in MacDill. You were at the headquarters of that's a big base, you know.
And then, but that was administrative only. I didn't do anything there, but my military stuff, my you know my.
But you were stationed there with the family up in Tampa.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you.
That's where I did my. That's where I did some. That's where I did my training, my fellowship for in
After you
Tampa.
graduated college itself.
Yeah, I mean college, then medical school, then residency, then fellowship, and so each of those are different levels
wow,
of.
I felt you
different
have to
levels
go.
of training.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought after residency you just that's it.
No, and then there's a fellowship afterwards.
What does that mean?
It's just narrowing your specialty down even more.
Wow. So that one. So you were there, Tampa, San Antonio, Biloxi, and where?
And then the Army base out of Indianapolis. I can't even think of what that was.
Your own state? You don't know?
Well,
I love it.
it was truly just administrative.
Okay, so
So I was that was also my training in Indianapolis, and then that was just administrative.
right.
So
So that's
I went out there to get my ID and
that's that.
you know, and
But you really
they
in
want to make sure I
school.
was shaven and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
bullshit.
You know, yeah.
But you always had that ID, right?
Always had the ID, definitely.
and
it
then
meant
you-
a lot. You know, and actually it was something that also again you're kind of proud of pulling it out and
Oh,
seeing it.
I carry mine. I showed mine yesterday. Not yesterday. When I was over there getting my I got new passes and all that for the marina, and which you know they go. If you want a marina, you can put. Did they have them there? Wet marina. So, oh my God, is it cheap, John?
Oh yeah.
But anyway, and so I was in there, and I take out my ID card, and I have an ID card that is so old. The guy goes, I haven't seen one of these in He had to look twice. The expiration date says indefinite. They don't even do that anymore.
Right,
They
right.
put a date at 65 when you get medical, whatever.
Right.
It's just indefinite. He goes, wow, I haven't seen this. That's why in the back goes, retired December 31st, 1986. It's like I look back, I go, man, are we getting old or what?
Yeah.
I'm glad I feel pretty good. I mean,
Me too. I feel great.
For a fuck up, who's a hard back and everything else I got. But I do have a new T-shirt coming out, and it's got the smiley face. Did you see the one I sent to you guys?
No, I didn't.
You did not?
I did not see the smiley face T-shirt.
Yes, you did, because your wife sent one to me.
Oh, shoot. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Are you really getting that?
Yeah, we're gonna do them.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's gonna be an inside joke.
I thought you just drew on that though, right?
I did,
Yeah.
but we're gonna make one up with 2007 free smiley, freed smiley, or something, and do the thing, and it's gonna be people who know. So
people who know.
We'll sell a lot of those.
Yeah.
Once it gets out, is it true? And I'm gonna say I don't answer questions like that.
No.
You have to know me real well. But anyway, John, anything else you want to say for Memorial Day to people out there, the military, today's day? I want to thank you, number one, for coming on, of course. This is fun. We haven't did this shit.
Oh,
we haven't
good.
talked about your work or anything like that.
No,
we won't.
no.
You got work. You're good where you work and all that.
I love what I do.
Yeah, I know
No
you do. That's no question. You love what you do. You love this. We talk about John just for he's a surgeon, and when he retires, they tell him we gotta get him a watermelon or some shit. Otherwise, he's gonna want to cut me. I had a what did I have? You remember a snake bite? Yeah. And John goes, well, okay, I'll cut it Monday. No, John, you're not just cutting it. He just likes to cut into people. That could be like a little bit of a serial killer shit.
I have to go hunting or something.
Yeah, do something. Go field a deer or some shit.
That's right.
What do you got to say, John?
Well, I don't know. I Memorial Day and thinking about why we're here and why we can do this, why you can get online and speak your mind. And granted, you don't necessarily agree with probably any course of politics, or at least 100% of any course of politics. But what you don't agree with, you're allowed to speak up with. And
True.
gosh.
Sometimes I got people who say I shouldn't. They get worried for me.
And
you know what I mean.
And think of the type of military we have in this country, and yet it doesn't rule our country. And what other country in the world has any kind of military that it gets to a certain point, all of a sudden now the military is in charge of the country, and and that freedom of being able to say this stuff and do this stuff is gone. And our military is able to be what it is, and I hate to say controllable. I don't know if you can say it really is controllable or not, but it's not overpowering.
I never thought. That's a great question, because you wonder what stops them, from a tyrant, or I guess it's the way we all grew up. The structure of our country,
and I think that emotional part of seeing the flag and how you feel and what you do. I mean, I think that's universal across probably everybody in the military, and the thinking of the people that died in the military and what they've done.
And for what they died for. I think most people in the military they can be independent thinkers, and I think they realize they fought so I can say what I'm going to say.
Right.
They didn't fight. Of course, in Germany, my father used to say, we fought so we don't speak German. That's what he used to tell me. I mean, and they did. They lose the war.
Yeah. And we could be scared sometimes of a lot of politicians and of police, but I don't know if I've ever been scared of the military.
I never have. That's a good, wow. You made a great point. We didn't, but anyway, I want to, you're right. You said it all. I mean, in a good way. I love the flag. Look, I got my Coast Guard stuff up here. I mean, I always do. There's a flag over there in my bar, of course, next to the bar. But has to be. Yes. But John, I love you, buddy. So, and thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me, Larry.
We always have fun. We always do whatever we do.
Definitely.
So I will see you soon. I'll talk to you in a minute. And everybody, please have a great day. Stay safe and happy Memorial.
Don't touch anything. It's the greatest find yet. Nothing compares to it.